All right, welcome back everyone to the next episode on SAP ABAP on HANA come S4 HANA technical training with me Anubhav. In our last episode, we talked about our server access, HANA architecture, and also setting up our development tool called ABAP development tool on Eclipse. In our today's session, we are going to proceed further based on the discussion we had towards the end of the last episode regarding the new ABAP features and syntax. So ABAP is improving. Are we also improving along with ABAP? So as I mentioned that going forward, we can use the new ABAP language features. These language features are in direction to improve the code quality, write less amount of code to achieve better results, improve performance, make the ABAP syntax more closer to other programming languages, make developers' life little easy. It doesn't mean that you have to now go and change all the millions of lines which you had already developed in your company as per the new syntax. The new syntax and the old syntax can coexist together. In fact, if you don't want to adopt new syntax, you can continue to use the old syntax in ABAP language. Having said that, let's get started one by one. First with our language features, and then continuation to that, we will also learn SQL features. So I will be creating a program in our system, and this program I will be writing all the different ABAP syntax, keep testing and commenting the block of code, and then write the next one. So let me create a new ABAP program using our Eclipse tool, and let's call it as zgen new ABAP syntax demo for new ABAP syntax, which is very important. Click on next. So in the process, our first option or first syntax is inline data declaration. So traditionally, if you want to create variables in ABAP, you create data. For example, I want to create a type of a structure. Yes. So I will create a structure. Let's say first I create a data type, and then I will create, let's say, a structure called TS type structure Mara, and I will use maintainer type Mara maintainer. Then I will use MATKL material group MATKL MEINS the material price data type, and then I will create end of my structure Mara. Usually this is how you create a structure manually. Yes. So this is how we create a structure manually in ABAP, and then later point of time we create a internal table using that Mara type table of TS Mara, and then we say ls Mara type table or type TS Mara. This is what we do in traditional ABAP to first create our types and variables, and then we write a select query. So we say select, or first we let me show you adding demo data ls Mara dash material number, let's say 1 mat 1 ls Mara dash MATKL material classification, let's say Hava type of material, and then we will append our data ls Mara to LT Mara. This is what you do traditionally in ABAP. So now our internal table have 1 record, 2 record, and 3 records. So I'm having 3 material in our internal table. Let's print the data of this internal table on the UI. So we will generate our code template, and we will print this data. So this is called classic ABAP, how we are born and brought up and learning and developing classic ABAP in SAP, where we create structures, then we create, using these structures we create the variables like this, which is the internal table, and structure, and then we fill them one by one, and then we print everything. This is what we typically do. Now if I run, I will get my output. But the problem with this approach is that you have to end up writing lots of coding. Yes, lots of coding you have done here. Now if I say we can simplify all of this in a much easy way, how can we do that? To be able to do that, now we can just bye bye to this entire stuff, and we can do a inline data declaration. Yes, a inline data declaration. So this entire data can be written in a different way using a inline data declaration. Now usually what you do after you create these things, you select data from database, right? So you say select star from Mara table into your LT Mara, into corresponding fields of LT Mara. This is what you do as a developer. So let me do this and print the data on the UI current speed of table. Yeah. So I will just do this and print the data on the UI. So these are our material and material classifications we are getting. Very good. Now the problem in this case is you have to first create the type, then you have to create the internal table. Now this whole thing can be avoided. Now what are the disadvantage of this approach? The disadvantage of this approach, first disadvantage is coding effort. So you have to declare types, you have to put each field one by one and its data type, and then you need to declare data variables. So the coding time is very high. Second, let's assume for time being in future this line is written at line number 9999 in your program, and by chance you comment out this. Yeah, let's say you comment out this particular line. If you comment out this line and this is written at 9000 line, yeah, you usually do not go scroll up on the top and you don't comment out this line. Yes, now since you don't need this, why do you need this variable also? You don't need. But what we do, we don't take effort of go up and delete the lines. So this memory remains allocated and it consumes lot of memory for your program, slowing down your program speed. So in case in future, if we delete query, usually we don't delete variables which we created. So they will remain allocated and they consume lot of memory. That's a second disadvantage. The third disadvantage is if something change, we need to also change structure. So suppose right now you're reading two fields, which is Matner and MATKL. Yes, material classification. But what if you read material group also? Yes. What if you read material group also? Some other fields also you use. Yes. So maybe in the future you will go and maybe read some other field from the table other than that. So let's say I will read this field called uh, this one. Let's say ERVOE, the volume, unit of volume. So if I read that field also, what happens? It will not work because now this field which I'm reading, it's not part of your structure. So you have to also go back and add this in the structure. This will increase your effort. So if something change, we need to also change our structure. So these are the disadvantages of your current ABAP approach. Now what SAP says, SAP come up with a new approach where SAP says you don't have to do all this. What you can do is you can directly go back and instead of creating this, bye bye to this, I comment out Control 7 is a shortcut to comment. Control 7 shortcut to comment. I bye bye to everything. And what I will do is here, I will just put data parenthesis. Wow. Congratulations, everybody. So what it does, depending on how many columns you choose here, yeah, it will automatically create an internal table accordingly. So if you put here, let's say MATNR, MATKL, MEINS, and let's say the other field ERVOE. So if you choose these fields, then automatically a internal table will be created at runtime, at runtime, at runtime, at runtime with these four fields automatically. Bam! Now look at the advantage. The first advantage, if you tomorrow delete this line, then the variable will also get deleted. So this variable will never allocate extra memory. In case if you change something, you add new fields here, like I added this, the internal table will auto adapt. Third advantage, if you can see, the coding effort is also very less because we are not writing so much code. Yeah. So this is called inline data declaration. Now, along with this data declaration, there is one more concept. So there are two concepts I'm teaching here. One is inline data declaration, and second concept I'm teaching is escaping of host variable in select query. So this second one is only applicable for select query. So here you see, this is my target. This is my output variable. LT-mara is my output variable. So what am I telling the computer? I'm telling the computer to go and get the data from database for this database table Mara. And when the data comes in application layer, the data will come in this internal table. Yes. So this is my source and this is my host. Host means where the data will come. Suppose you buy a brand new Mercedes. Now you will certainly plan a parking space in your apartment to park that Mercedes, right? So this is your parking space. Yeah, this is your host where the data will come and sit. So in the select query, SAP says whenever you use a select query, now you need to tell the computer what is your host variable. And to tell this, you have to put a special symbol called @ this symbol is called escaping of host variable. So you are telling the computer that this is my host and this is my source. Now, why is this so? This is because let's assume your internal table name is also Mara only. Yeah, this is also Mara only. Now, computer will get confused. What is my source and what is my target? Yeah, computer will get confused. So to let the computer never confuse, what we do? We clearly put here a @ of here is indicating that that this is my host variable. Now also you don't need this corresponding field because we don't need any types. Yeah, so this is very good for performance because it will auto allocate memory according to the fields. It will be less writing of code. If you delete this line, the data variable will get deleted, and it's easy to read also and easy to create also. So all that extra stuff which we would do in the past, we don't need to do. And same thing you can also do here. Yes, so you're looping, you're creating a structure now to loop. So you can also say data like this. This is also inline data declaration. But the question, Anubhav, why you didn't use @ of here? Anyone? Why I haven't used @ of here? Anyone? Why? Because it's not the select query.
Bec-
Yeah,
Yeah.
@ is only used for select query. Clear everybody? The escaping of host variable. This is a concept of select query. And this is the concept of inline data declaration. So you don't need to do this. Yeah. So now it also create a variable ls mara according to the lt mara. So now if you go, you see you are just have now 3 lines of code. Earlier you were having about 8 to 9 lines of code and the maintenance was also high. So I activate now, execute, and wow, you can see the data is coming. Fantastic. So this is called escaping of host variable concept first, and then inline data declaration. We did it 2 places, here also and here also. Now Anubhav, can I also declare inline field symbols? Yes, you can. So let me show you. If you come down, once again I will loop at our LT Mara internal table assigning field symbol, and I can declare my field symbols. What is field symbol? Field symbols are pointers in ABAP. Yeah, to point to the memory. So now I've got a field symbol. Let me just write down here the right statement to read the data from the field symbol now. So inline declaration is not just for data variables, but they also work for field symbols. Yeah, in the line. So inline declaration means within the line itself, you are creating your variable. You are not creating your variable using data statement above. You're creating them within the line. That's why it's called inline data declaration. You see the inline data declaration, inline field symbol declaration. Yeah. So now I activate and I run and I get my result. Yeah. Cool. So this is how we work with inline declaration. Any question on inline declaration or escaping of host variable? Will this also work for global internal table? Yes, certainly. Yes.
Uh,
So,
we don't need to mention the data while defining the field symbol.
no, field symbols are declared using
Mm.
field symbol statement.
Field
Data
symbol.
is
Yeah.
declared using
Okay.
data
Okay.
statement. Yes. Okay. Now let's move on to the next concept. So we
Anubhav,
understood.
how is the visibility from the data element?
So in this case, what will happen at runtime? What the system will do in the background? It will go and check the data element of these fields. Yeah. And then it will allocate the memory for this internal table based on the data element of the source. So this is your source. So using the source, it will create the automatically it will create an internal table with 4 columns behind the scene.
So Anubhav, I have a
Yeah,
question.
we can.
Uh, Hi
Sure.
Anubhav, if you are using a perform statement and all this LT and Mara would go there as well?
Yes. So it depends. It's same thing. So if you declare your data objects here on the top of the program, they are global. Yes. So same thing will happen. So if you can use this is inline declaration inside a perform also. So if you have form and form, yeah. So if you do your data statement inside this, they will become local variables. They will become local variables. They will not become global variables.
So we can use the same internal table with a different field set in a form perform. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes, you can.
So okay. Then if I want to pass data from that Mara to this Mara, then so I need to just
So then in that case, what do you do in classic ABAP? If you have a variable within your form perform and one variable outside your form perform, what do you do?
uh, we use variables. Using we will reference a variables in the perform
Absolutely. Same
statement
thing you need to do here
using
also.
this form.
So don't get too much confused. It is just like writing data. So it is equal of writing a data statement just above the statement.
Okay.
It is just like that. So at runtime, what computer does, it will automatically create a variable for you just above that statement. It is just like that. Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
So in case of loop, it only creates the variable at one time, right? Not like a.
Absolutely. 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 So when the statement runs, it will first create the variable and then it will begin the loop. Absolutely. Correct answer. Okay. Next, after the inline declaration and escaping of host variable, one more thing you just observe that now you can put your column names separated with comma. In the past, you cannot put your column names with comma, but now you can put comma in your column names in ABAP. So this is another improvement in the ABAP language which has happened with SAP NetWeaver 7.5. Okay, next comes is inline fields symbol declaration, also done. Now let's talk about string operator or string expression. So suppose, okay, I'm commenting out this block, guys. In case when you get the source code later on, you can just check here. You can uncomment the code, test it, run it, and then you can exercise. You can also type in the code by looking at my code. As usual, this entire source code will be shared as part of a notepad file like this in the trading material. So kindly check training material. After the class, you will get the complete source code there in a notepad file. So you can copy that code and paste it in your company server where you are practicing.
Anubhav, one quick question. So
Yes.
in the once you are when you're running the loop and you have declared the inline declaration for the work area, so
Uh-huh.
once in the corresponding after outside of the loop, any corresponding processing that you do after line 32, we do not have to declare the work area, right? We can
No.
use the same one, or we'll have to again do the declaration.
Okay. Let me remove the confusion. So think about it like this, sir. It is like this. This you understood what happened here?
Yes, yes.
Yes. If you understood this, then it is exact same thing what we are doing by doing this. It is exactly same. Yeah. So what system does? It will basically create the memory just right at the beginning when it encounters that statement. Yeah. Okay. All
Yes.
right. So now what is our next example? String expression or string operator. So usually if I want to create a string in ABAP, what I do, I will say lv str type string, then I will say lv country type c length 10, and I'll put a default value, let's say India. So what do? You will say concatenate I love, and then I put a space and I put lv country into lvstr, and now you will say lvstr. Now you can see I have written I love space India. Yeah. So it should print I love space India, but it will not do like this. Yeah. What system does? It will truncate the space. This space will be truncated. So when you run, you see that space was not considered. So now you realize, oh, system is not taking this space. So what do? You put respecting blanks. Yeah. You put this extra line, and then you start, building your logic. Now at times also, let's say I want to print double single quote around country. So I will write like this. Yeah. Like this. Now many of you will think, why this kind of a quote? So you see this whole thing, what you see here is going to bring a single quote actually around my country name. So when you run, now you get single quote around country name. But again, you see it has got unnecessary spaces. So a string construction is very difficult in ABAP. And what you see over here is not what will be the output. So according to this, there has to be a space, but it was not. According to this, there are two quotes, but it was just one quote. Yes, according to this, the after country there shouldn't be any space, but there were a lot of spaces, right? So the string construction has been very difficult in ABAP, and because of this, you might have seen also problems in your code sometime when your string is constructed and you use that string to compare with some other string, your comparison fails because how you feel about that string, the way it was created, it is not the same at the runtime. Yeah. So this creates a big problem. So SAP come up with a new concept called string expression. So what you do is you just come back and now you can put over here a new thing called lvstr equals to this operator. It's called string operator. It's called pipe operator. The the key for the pipe operator is just about the enter key on your keyboard. So just about the enter key on your keyboard, if you see there is a key for pipe operator along with shift. So we do that and I say I love single quote, single quote. And now if I want to add a variable, this is my variable. So what I do, I come back and put curly braces, LV country. So what happens now? This is my variable. It is surrounded with a single quote and it says I love and then there is a space. So what system does? It will actually print you the string the way what you'll see. So what you see is what you get actually. Yeah. Execute and you see I love India. So there is no issue of constructing the string. The design time what you writing and at runtime what you getting, both are same. But in case of concatenate statement, it was not the case. which causes lot of issues for you writing and correcting and building the right string for comparison. Yeah. So this is the new feature with ABAP to construct a correct string. It's called string expression. Easy? All right. So let's move to the next example. So these are very small features, guys. They are not radical feature to spend too much time on. Yes. Now, constructor expression, or also then we will do value expression first, then we'll do constructor expression after. So what is value expression? Let's understand. So again, I will create a type begin of ty team name type C length 10. So team name, captain name type C length 18. That's it. And score of the team type int4. End of ty team. This is my definition of a type. Now I will create an internal table. And I will fill this with data. So let's fill the data. Captain name, let's say Sachin. Score is 98. Team name is, let's say, Mumbai Indians. Yeah. And now I will append. Yes. Now like this, I will have more data, 2 record, 3 record. So I will have, let's say, Dhoni, Chennai Super Kings, and score is 99. I will have Team Bangalore, Virat, and I will have RCB, and let's say score is 95. Yes. So now I've got the data. Let me print the data. So we use the code template which we created yesterday. This is traditional ABAP, how you do things in traditional classic ABAP by creating a internal table and then printing the data inside, loading the data inside an internal table and printing the data. Yes, very simple and easy thing. I run it. I got my data. Very nice. So our next step now, after I got the data, will be to see how can we fill our data in the internal table in a easy manner. So we are filling one by one. Now this whole 10 to 12 lines of code can be written in one line. Wow. Wow, guys. So this whole thing can be written in one line. How do we do that? So let me comment out and I will now show you using value expression. So I say value LT team equal to value hash. Why hash? I'm telling the computer, please automatically allocate memory according to the data type of this LT team. So what computer does? Computer will go and it will check. Okay, since I've given hash, it will go and check what's the data type of LT team. The data type of LT team is TY team. So it will automatically allocate memory for this internal table because it's type table of TY team. So it will create a memory for a table. Now this is a table. Table have multiple records. So what do you do? Record number 1 space 2 3 4 5 6 7, up to you. You can write as many records you want. Cool, na? So now you can start putting first record ka data. So it's captain and I will say Sachin and I'll put the team name. Control space is your best friend to give the code completion. Control space is a shortcut for code completion, and score control space 98. This is my first record. Yes. This is my first record I've got. Now, second record, captain name, let's say Dhoni, team, Chennai Super Kings, score 99. Enter. Then captain name, let's say Virat, team name, RCB. This is a character data, score, let's say 100. So now I have got these 12 lines written in a single line. Wow. Wow, guys. And this is the beauty of value expression. Value expression. Yes. So I can run it and I will get the same data. So you can reduce down the memory footprint. Usually in ABAP, you create lot of internal tables just for the sake of preparing your data and passing to a function module or a class. You don't need to do that. You can pass directly this value expression, which will not just allocate the memory, it will also prepare the data in that memory and pass it to the class or function module. Wow, superb, superb. Okay, next, what we want to do, we want to proceed further, and we wanted to also see the concept of value expression where even you don't want to do this. So line 14 15 also, if you don't want, you can comment out that also. Yes, I comment out. Now what happens, you see, system is not recognizing what is LTT because we commented out. So I just taught you inline data declaration, right? So you can put here data, please allocate the memory for me. Yeah. So you see, it will now allocate memory, but now it doesn't know what is the data type, because earlier the data type was coming from here. But since you commented this line, computer don't know data type actually. It's giving an error. Yeah, it's saying hash will not work because I don't know what's the data type of LT team. So you can go back and remove, and you have to put a table type. So let me create a table type of team, type table of ty team. Yes, with the default key. So now I have to put TT team, and that you have to put it here. So in case your internal table is not declared earlier, yes, like in this case, we not declare it anymore, you have to put the exact type. If your internal table is already declared, like line 15, if it is there, then you can put a hash. Yeah, if you put a hash, make sure your table is already declared. But if you are using inline data declaration, if you using inline data declaration with the inline data declaration with the value expression, the hash is not allowed. Okay, guys, the hash is not allowed. Fantastic. Let me activate. We are done. And now, okay, here also we can do the inline declaration. Very good. And we can activate. We can run it. And now we got the data. So this is even better because you also not writing two more lines of code. So more and more improvement we are doing. We're improving our code with more and more inline data declaration. Any question on this part? Inline declaration and value expression together. Any question?
So these value expressions need to be used with the only internal tables, like filling the internal tables.
Yes, ma'am. They are only for the purpose of building a new table with the data. With the data. Yeah. Okay. Now, after this is done, let's move on to the next part. I wanted to show you moving data from one table to another. Yes. Yes, please go ahead.
Can we use table type in value instead of declaring at the top for TT team?
TT team. Yeah, you can use table type directly from data dictionary also. Yes, can.
Here in value statement, we can use value table type TT team.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You can. Okay. All right. So now let's see how can we move data from one table to another. So what I will do, I will create one more internal table. Let's say data LT team 2, and I move the data from LT team. Wow. So it create an internal
Anubhav, can
table.
you please tell me how to fetch the data from internal table using this value operator?
No, value operator is not used to fetch the data, sir. Value operator will actually use to give the value for the data. It cannot
Suppose
be
any
used to fetch.
internal table, I want to do some manipulation in the. Suppose I want to fetch some columns based on some condition by using the value
I'm coming
operator.
to that,
Can
sir.
you please explain?
Please allow me to
Okay,
proceed.
thank you.
I'm coming to that. Okay. So I will create now a second table where I will move the data from first table to second table. So you see, create second table and move all data. So this is what you do usually. Now imagine your second table have extra column. Yeah. So imagine you have one more team 2 and it's got extra column along with the team captain score. Let's say I also have the region or state. Which state does that this team belong to? Yes. So C length 12. So what happens in this case? If my LT team 2, let me declare my LT team 2 type table of this. Yeah. So my LT team 2 is now have an extra column. You see, it has an extra column. So it has all the three columns as the first one, but it also has this extra column. Yes. So now if you directly try to move the data from one table to another, it will not work. It will not work. So what do you do? Yes, you can actually go ahead and you can use this new syntax in SAP called corresponding. Yes, corresponding. So you can say LT team 2. I know that my LT team 2 has extra columns, but I can say corresponding hash. So it will move the data from your LT team 1 to LT team 2. Corresponding means check the column names. So wherever column names are matching, so you see this team is matching with this team, it will move. Captain will move to captain, score will move to score, and the state will be discarded. It will be not moved. So now you will have data in LT team 2 also. Let me print LT2 2 data. Yes, it will be same data. So this is called corresponding hash, moving data from one place to another. So first we saw value expression. Now we are seeing how to move data from one to another, from one to another. So I will activate, and if I run, I will get the data. You see, Sachin, Dhoni, and Virat. This is the second table ka content. It is the same content. So using corresponding hash, it can move the data from one table to another table wherever the column names are same. Wherever the column names are same. Yes. Rest all the columns which doesn't have a same column name in the source, they will be discarded. They will not be moved. There won't be any data actually in that case.
So the corresponding will work similar to the old ABAP, just it doesn't have to be in the same order, right?
Doesn't has to be in same order. Like what you do in ABAP, you do move corresponding from table 1
Yep,
to table 2. It's exactly same. It's exactly same.
got it.
Yeah,
Thank
it
you.
is exactly same. Then you say, what is the benefit? I mean, I can still use the old syntax. What's the benefit? So there's one extra benefit which I now want to highlight for you. So there are in fact two benefits. So it can also work in case your column names are not matching. Yes, it can also work in case of column names are not matching. So the corresponding hash can also work if column names are not matching. Let me show you that. So I'm going to go back up again. I will create one more type 3. Yeah. And now I will say this is Scrum name. This is Scrum master name. Who's the Scrum master? It's like a captain. And this is the goals. how many goals this Scrum team have achieved, and what is the city it belongs to, for example. Yeah. So this is my second type. You see the data types are same. Character 10, character 10. Character 18, character 18. Integer 4, integer 4. Character 12, character 12. The field names are different. So in this situation, the corresponding is never be able to move the data because it does not know which source column to move to which target column. It can't check the data types. So using now corresponding hash, this new syntax, you can provide the computer a mapping. So let me show you creating a LT type 3. So I'm just creating a table 3 type team 3, which has completely new structure. Yes. So it has completely new stuff. Yeah. So I will also put a U line to print it so you can better see the data. And I will put my team 3 just to print the team 3 data. So we have the Scrum name in the team 3, Scrum name, Scrum Master, who's the captain of the team, goals, and city. Yeah. So now, of course, if you just do a simple corresponding, what will happen? Data will not move. Yeah. So you will get data in LT team, LT team 2, but LT team 3 after a line will have nothing. Let me run. And you see, this is LT1, this is LT2, but LT3 has nothing. Has nothing. It's empty. Yeah, it's empty. So what do we do? Congratulations. Now you have a solution for that. With just one line, without doing a loop, you can move the data. How? You can provide a mapping. This was not possible in the past. Congratulations. So you can say my data of Scrum will come from source team name. My data for my data in the master will come from captain. My data in the goal will come from score. Bam. So it is now possible to move the data from one table to another in spite of their column names are different.
What
Wow.
about data type?
It will compare the data type. Of course, as a basic rule of programming, if you do wrong mapping, then this will lead to dump. For example, you're trying to move a string data to a numeric data type. It is going to lead the dump at runtime. No programming language can handle that anyway, right? It's not just about ABAP. Even any programming language on this planet, if you try to move a string to a number data type, it is going to give you runtime errors. Yes, but here we know, you know, me know. Yes, we know it, what we are doing, but system will allow us in spite of the column names are different. Yeah. All right. When I run now, there you go. You gotcha. Yes. Now the $1 billion question. What about this extra field, city? I don't have the city field in the source. Yeah. In the source, I don't have that. In the target, I have extra field. Can I somehow fill this field at runtime with some hard coded value? Let's say India or Delhi. Yeah. Can I do that? Can I fill a default value in this city field? Yeah. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. So let me show you the third variation of corresponding hash, where we can also fill a unmapped field. Yes, we can also fill no value in source. So what I will do now, watch out carefully. I'm going to do LT team 3 equals to corresponding hash, and I'm going to move the value, yes, from one to another. Yes. So here what we are going to do, guys, we are going to use actually kind of a loop. Okay, so first of all, I will not use corresponding now. I'll use value expression, and now I will do kind of a loop. It's not actually a loop. It may look like a loop. Yeah, the syntax may look like a loop, but it's not a loop. So we say for line is nothing but like a work area. Yeah, so you can say my work area. This will be created automatically by the system. So for my work area in my source step, what is my source step? LT team. This is my source. So please start a loop on this LT team line by line in my work area, And for this loop, what you're doing, yes, in this loop, what you do, you move the data. So Scrum data will move to my work area dash the team name. So basically, once again, you're giving them mapping. Yeah. Once again, you're giving them mapping actually. So I'll just come back over here just to give a better structure you can understand, because it is important for me to structure my code so it's much readable for you. And then I have the value of Scrum Master, my work area, the captain, and then I have the goals, my work area, score. And now you can give the value for that extra field city. I will hard code Delhi, or let me put Chicago. Yeah. So what will happen this time, my friends? This my team 3 will also be entitled to get extra value, which is of course hard coded in this case, but remaining values will come from the source, and this value will come from a hard coded value perhaps. Yeah. So what I will do now, I'll just go down and print. So we are already printing it. That's good. So let's go ahead and look at the output, and voila, look at that. You gotcha, Chicago. So in spite of you not having the value in the source for an extra field, is still you can get that with the value expression and this new kind of a syntax for loop. It's actually not a loop. It's written in a single line. It may look like a loop, but it's not a loop. Yes. So what it is doing, it's moving the data from one to another, one place to another place quickly. Now, one addition thing. Let's say my manager is not happy still. My manager say if the team score is above 97, that is Chicago. But if this is not above 97, then they are Manhattan. Yes, they are from Manhattan. So in this case now, this Chicago cannot be hard coded. We have to have a condition. Yes. So watch out the next concept in ABAP, condition expression. So I say condition. I will create a variable let city or let score. Yes. Or let's say my threshold score, which my manager told me it's 97. So I'm creating a variable threshold score 97. And what was the condition manager gave to me? My manager told me when the score, yeah, when this score of the team is greater than my threshold score. Yes. When this score is greater than my threshold score, then yes. So pass that data. When this score is greater than my threshold score, then it is Chicago. Else it is Manhattan. Wow. Woohoo! So now you got another condition inside. See how complicated your requirement can go, and more complicated your requirement go, more complicated code you will be writing. So I'm improving my code step by step with each requirement coming up. Yes. So when a requirement comes up to you, the requirement evolves. And as the requirement evolves, your source code also evolves accordingly. So this is how you can write a condition in ABAP. In ABAP. Wow. You can actually write this condition outside also. Yes, if you want, you can write like this. Yeah. Put the value in a variable, pass that variable here. That you can do if you want. But since while system is processing the data here, record by record, it's better we write the code here directly. Yeah. Okay, let me activate. And now you will see miracle. Wherever score are above 97, you should see Chicago. So everything is above 97. Let me change the threshold to 99. So at least we should see some change in the data. As our condition evaluates, you can see the first two are from Manhattan and the last one is Chicago. Yes. So anything above 90, 99, yes, is Chicago. Anything equal to less than equal to 99 is Manhattan. So that is the condition. It's perfectly working fine within this expression for value with a loop. Superb. Any question, guys, so far in the corresponding mapping value hash with the for loop syntax to move the data, even including the fields which are not part of the source with a condition. There's a statement in chat, Anubhav, we need to practice, then only we can say. Yes, you need to practice first, then come back and you can also ask questions in the next episode for sure. You have to practice. Yes, next question.
I'm good. This is Lata here. Actually, I came across a situation where the Scrum example I was taking, Scrum is having a character, both are having team also having character 258, character 100. Okay, now I was passing the above 100 levels. So will this work or not?
Let's try it out right away. So the question here is, if let's say my target is, let's say, character 5. Yes.
Okay.
And here my source is character 10. Yes. Will it work or not? Yeah.
Yes.
Let's see. I will save and activate and I will run it. You see, it's working. Sorry. Is it working? Let me just check. What was the correct one? What we were passing? No, let's do it for the captain. I just increased to two characters. Yeah, just two characters in the target. So basically, I've reduced the characters. So I believe it should pass, but it'll truncate. Yeah, I believe it will pass, but it'll truncate. So let's see. You see, it passed, but your Sachin was truncated to SA because the target is only able to accommodate 2 characters. But the incoming data was more than 2 characters. It was truncated. Clear? It passes.
Yes, thank you.
So wherever it is possible to truncate, it will truncate. But wherever it's not possible at all to map the data type, let's say you're passing a string to a number data type, it will dump. It will dump actually. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Why have we not declared data and taken it as LT team 3? Why have we redeclared? Is that necessary?
Not necessary. So if you want to go with the inline declaration, I just modify my code according to your order, ma'am. You order me and I will do it for you. So I will now have this. It's just that, I'm going with. So in general, there are many ways of doing same thing. It is not mandatory that you all follow me. Okay. It's not mandatory that you all follow. You can do like this. Make sense?
Yeah.
This works.
So the work area after for, right? Can we use after this, like, in the rest of the program, the same work area?
Absolutely. So this work area, once it is declared here, from here onwards, you can use it anywhere in the program.
No, not that work area. Like line number 65, like for my work area. my WA.
No, this one you cannot use anywhere else beyond this block. This is a block. You have to use it within the block. Only within this block it will be accessible. Okay. So what did we saw?
So
We
what
saw
is let keyword Anubhav? Let what does it does like let
okay,
th underscore score equal to
good
99,
question.
right?
Let is basically a keyword in programming language to declare a variable. So we created a variable here. Yes, the beauty here is you don't have to give data type. Usually in ABAP, if you create variables, syntax is data, variable name, type, variable data type. Yeah, this you do in ABAP. But when you create a variable using let, you don't have to give data type. The data type of this variable will be automatically determined at runtime depending on data you are assigning. So since we are assigning 99, it's a number. System will automatically allocate memory for a number. So that is what the let is doing. It's a variable to define my threshold. If I wouldn't have defined this threshold, and if I would have written multiple conditions, let's say Santa Clara, yeah, Kings County, if I've written like this, and if I've written my score like this, then if my manager changed the threshold value, I have to change here, here, and here, 3 places. But since we have used a variable, yeah, since we used a variable, this variable, I have to change my threshold value only one place. And if this condition is used hundreds of times, then that condition will auto adapt with that variable.
Anubhav, I have one question.
Please go ahead.
Suppose two internal tables are there.
Uh-huh.
One table have the 4 columns. Another
Perfect.
table also have the 4 columns.
Perfect.
So in the both tables, one column is the same, like Matner. So in this, my requirement is I have to compare this Matner column. Suppose the value matches, then I have to compare that uh, data into the third internal table. So how we will use this value operator in that case? Comparison of two internal tables with some column with some value and fetch that data and store into the another internal table using this value operator.
Mhm. So it will not be able to compare two internal table values. Rather, the comparison is only possible with a single variable, like in this case. So this expression cannot help you to compare two internal table values actually. That we cannot do that with this expression.
So how we will achieve this one, two internal tables in 7.4 syntax?
So that is, then you have to go back still to the old way of reading the data. You loop at internal table 1, and then in this you loop at internal table 2, and then you do your comparison inside, record by record.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Anubhav.
So when you're looping the first table, the corresponding record from second table based on tabix you will read, and then you will do your comparison. This syntax not relevant for this kind of comparison.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe some of you finding today's session and this source code little bit tricky, or maybe you feel that it is too much overhead. I can still do things in the same way the way we've been doing in classic ABAP, yeah, with classic syntax. I understand that, but today I'm just ramping you up on the new syntax. In the future, when I build application, then I will use this syntax and you will understand the power of it, the benefits of new syntax in a practical use case. Today, I'm just explaining you the syntax, explaining you the benefits of this new syntax. But later on, when we practically use it in our code, when we build some scenario, that time you will understand the more benefits of this syntax. Okay. So what did we just saw? We saw the condition expression. We saw value expression, we saw corresponding expression, and we also saw the smart loop. How do you smartly loop over one table and move the data to corresponding another table? The next expression is called table expression.
Anubhav,
Yes, please.
hello. Anubhav, this threshold score which we have declared with let, can we declare it with data?
No.
The inline declaration sort of thing?
Oh, that we can do, but not here, ma'am. Not here. You have to do it above, like this. Like this you can do outside the block. And then you can use this variable inside the block here. And you will just avoid this extra variable declaration. You see, it is working.
Okay. So, but this will not be an inline declaration, right? Inline declaration is basic. This this will be a normal declaration of the variable.
You
Right?
can declare inline declaration anywhere you want, but inside the condition they don't allow. So this is why in this case
Okay.
you
Okay.
cannot.
Okay.
Hi
Got it.
Anubhav.
Thank you.
Hi, sir.
How can we use a read statement very effectively, because there are uh, 2 to 3 different syntaxes I have seen on the Google thread actually regarding the read statement. So most of the time it got dumped, right? If it is not matching the values, then
I'm
we
coming
write
to
a
that, sir.
optional.
That's my next concept,
Fine.
table expression.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's talk about table expression now. So usually what do we do to read the data from single record from a table? We use read table statement. So SAP introduced table expression with read table. So in this case, what do we do? Usually in the past, we do read table LT team into, let's say, inline declaration work area index 1, or we choose with key team name RCB. Yes, we do this. Please find a record in the internal table where the team name is RCB. It finds the record and we print the record. So we say, right, work area team, work area captain, work area score. Fair enough. This we do in ABAP. We've been doing this many years, reading a single record based on a condition. So it finds the record and it prints the record on the UI. Perfect. Now, the same can be written with new syntax provided by SAP, which is called as table expression. What is table expression? So you say data, work area, you put your table, LTT, bracket, and now you can simply put here your column name equal to the value you want to compare. So earlier we were putting this condition team RCB. I take the same and I put it here. That's it. So it does the same thing what this statement was doing. Yeah, is doing the same thing what it was doing. So now if I run, it is also working. But this table expression has a disadvantage. If the data not found for the condition, then it will dump. So like one of your colleague just now mentioned on the call that it will dump if condition doesn't meet. So let's say I put a team Rajasthan Royals. Now you know that in the data set we don't have a team RR Rajasthan Royals, right? So what will happen? This will dump now. It's a side effect of the table expression. So if I run now, it is going to dump. You see, it's dumping. So how to effectively bypass this issue? If the record is not found, what to do? I mean, it should not go inside. So what you can do is we can put a condition if line exists. Line exists is a function provided by SAP, out of the box function, where you can put your condition. Yes. If the condition is true, then only it will go inside the block. Else it will not go inside the block. So this way you can effectively overcome the problem of dump with the table expression. My personal opinion, the table expression is not very, very useful. Yes, it is better to use read statement. But yes, this is also possible because as a trainer, it is my duty to show you all the variety. Because later on, you may go to some maintenance project and you may find this syntax. So that time you should not get confused. What is it? Yeah, you should not get confused with that. So I activate now and I run, and you see it's not dumping. It didn't find the record, it didn't dump because it did not went inside the if condition. So this is kind of a fallback check. Yeah, this is a fallback check we are doing if the data for condition matches. Then only it will go and try to read the data. Else it will discard the reading of data. I hope it answers your question also, sir. What you saw on Google, how to overcome the problem.
Yeah, Anubhav. But how we can write the same code inside loop?
Inside loop, you can do the same thing, sir. This whole thing you can do inside the loop.
Sure, sure. I will try. Thanks, thanks.
You can try it out, and you can also come back in the class, next class, with your source code where you find it, difficult to do something, and I can help you out in the live class so others can also see.
Sure, sure, Anubhav.
Yes,
Thank you.
perfect. This is called table
Another
expression. Yes,
Related to like something like size of bars equal to 0 check only, right?
yes, it is more like that, where it is going to check if there is a data, it's a valid expression, only then it will proceed further. It's like size bar
Okay.
only.
Okay.
Does this set like SY tabix system variable like usually when you use read statement, if you
We
check the
can
SY
check that.
tabix, it
We can
holds.
check that, ma'am. I have never tried it. I think it should. Yeah. So let me put a valid value CSK, and that should be index 2 according to the system. It is setting as 1. Let me just check. RCB. Is it setting the site tabix? Just wanted to check. No, it is not setting the index of the record actually. Always it is 1. Yes. It's like transporting no fields. It is not like transporting no fields because transporting no fields is never fill your work area. But here we are filling our work area. So it is not like transporting no fields. Yes, if you talk about this line in the condition, that is like transporting no fields. Yeah, that is like transporting no fields. Okay, so let's move to the last ABAP expression called constructor expression, my personal favorite. So it is used to create objects of a class. So how we create objects of a class in ABAP? Let me comment out this entire block. Later on, you guys can uncomment and practice. I will be sharing the complete source code with all of you as part of the study material. So in this block, what we tested many things actually. We tested value expression, table expression, safeguarding of table expression. We tested corresponding. We tested value expression with the for loop. Yes. We tested condition expression. These things we tested. Now, constructor expression. What is constructor expression? It is used to create objects of a class. So in the past, how we create objects of a class? LO data or LO object. Type ref to your class name. Let's say I put a class. Just putting a class, random class, and I put this line, and then we say create object. This we do in the past in ABAP, right? We write 2 lines to create object of a class. Bye bye. No need to do that. You can do all of this in one line. Inline data declaration, hello object equals to new. New is a keyword and put the class name. Wow. Are you able to, some of you, I wanted to ask, are you able to recall this syntax is equivalent of another programming language very popular in the market? Have you seen any
Java.
other?
Java.
Java
Java.
or JavaScript also. Yeah. So if you worked with Java or JavaScript ever in your career, then it is very equivalent to that programming syntax. So people who are working on JavaScript or Java, if they come to ABAP, they find it easy to code with ABAP also. Yes, because ABAP is trying to go very close to other programming languages so that more and more people get motivated to learn ABAP. Okay, and now you can call functions of that class. So all the methods are there. You can call them. Yes, let's say just this. And you can also pass a value expression, you see. So you see, this is how we can pass. So if I have to pass this structure value, I don't need to create this structure explicitly. I can directly pass my value expression with my structure values. Yeah. So to fill this structure, I can directly pass value hash. I don't have to explicitly create a structure separately. In the past, you do like this. Yes. In the past, you do like this. But now you don't have to do that. You have value expression. You can directly pass the value without creating extra variable. So this is called new constructor expression in ABAP to create object of a class. I'll comment out this block of code and this will be shared as part of material. So all of this was features of new ABAP syntax in the ABAP programming. Now, next section, we will learn new SQL improvements. What are the things which SAP improved in select queries, which you can do better in ABAP? Before we move to the next section, let's take a quick break and we will join back after a short break. All right, everyone, welcome back after the short break. So now we will discuss about new SQL features in ABAP language. By far you saw some of the interesting ABAP language features in ABAP syntax. Once again, I would like to remind you that new syntax does not mean that all your old code is invalid. What has been working by far in ABAP, whatever you've been learned or used in classic ABAP, continue to work and continue to be supported. But it is a recommended practice to start using new syntax and adopting it as part of your newly built code. Moving on, now we will begin some features of SQL queries. SQL is very important part of your ABAP system, especially for data manipulation and reading data from database. We often use open SQL statements. SAP have improved SQL both behind the scenes and for the developers. So some of the improvements which were done behind the scenes is the way SQL processor processes the request sent to HANA database. That has been improved a lot by SAP. So you will see a visible performance improvement in your existing SQL syntax. However, as you know, HANA is a column store database. We should try to write more and more business processing logic, which can push down the logic to the database. And some of this you will see today. How can you write optimum SQL, which pushes down the logic to the database? Plus, you should avoid writing select star because in a column store database, that is going to be a differentiating factor for performance. Now, let's begin with string literals with SQL query. Usually, if you want to read some data and concatenate another data to that in ABAP, you first select that data into an internal table, loop over the data, and then you concatenate record by record. This leads to high processing time in application server. But now you can pass string literals directly to database, and all the operations can be dumped deep into the multi-core CPU database HANA. Having said that, let me show you the first example of passing string literals to SAP DB, HANA DB. So as I select, and I will pass here, let's say messers. So I want to concatenate before every company a keyword called messers, and I will use company name, and I will just also use the ID of the company, business partner ID, from a database table SNWDBPA. SNWDBPA is a standard database table present in every SAP system. In fact, it is also present in your company system as well. You can use that for querying the business partner data. PPA means business partner data. Okay, so I will store this data in a internal table now. So I tab, and I will just create I tab with inline declaration work area, print the business partner ID and company name. So what it does now, it will basically get the data from database, concatenating this string literal messers. So I want to drop a letter, a new year greeting card to all the companies, and I want to print the address of each company by putting a messers before the company. In the past, if you got to do this, you have to do this processing in ABAP layer by using concat statement in ABAP. But now we are passing this string literal directly to the database, and the database itself is going to concatenate the messers before every company name in the database itself. The good news is we are using multi-core CPU. So each core of CPU will process some portion of your data, and final result will be joined and returned at a much faster speed at as compared to what was done in application layer. So I can run now, and you can see messers SAP, messers SAP, messers. All the company names are coming with messers. There is no space here, no problem. We can add a space as well. And now we are passing string literal with concatenation. You can see it has prefixed a messers before every company name. So this is the first example of passing string literals to the HANA database, to the query. Now, one more important line here I want to make. It is not just HANA DB. It will be in case you are using Oracle, but you are using NetWeaver 7.4 and above. You can do this for Oracle also. However, remember, Oracle is not a multi-core CPU database. It's not an in-memory database. It's still a traditional database system. So the performance improvement will not be apparent as it will be apparent in HANA, because you know the capabilities of HANA. Now, that is the first improvement in SQL. Let's talk about the next example. The next improvement in SQL is SAP introduced new SQL functions. What are these functions and what they can do? They can perform calculations. They can do comparisons on the fly. They can concatenate or trim the strings on the fly. Plus, in addition, you can also round off the numbers. There are many functions like that. So suppose I wanted to show here the total sales by each company. Yes, how much total sales a company have given me. So I select the company name and sum total of sales from that company. Yes, from my database table, sales order, SNWD sales order is a sales order database table. Let's say as SO, inner join my business partner table as BPA. And I will put my join condition, sales order buyer GUID. So my join condition, sales order buyer GUID. compare with business partner node key. That's my join condition. And since we are using here aggregate function, yeah, we are summing the data. What we have to do? We have to use group by clause. It is mandatory to use group by for aggregate function. So we do that. And we take this data into a internal table, which I will declare on the fly with inline declaration. Yes. So I don't have to bother about data types and custom types. Directly the internal table will be allocated automatically. Let's generate the source code with the code template which we created in the last class. And I will print here company name and the total sales for that company. Very simple. Activate. And now you get company and the total sales by that company. Company, total sales by the company. Company, total sales by the company. Wow. Nice, na? So this is how we got. But look at here. In this, the data is coming with the decimals. You see, decimal points are there. I want to round off this value. So what you used to do in the past? In the past, you write a ABAP program which goes to database. Yes, which goes to our database. It loads all the data in the ABAP, and here you start processing on the data. Yes, and when you process, then you round off your data. So you round off your data in the ABAP layer, in the ABAP system, right? This is what you used to do in the past. But now you don't have to do that. You can tell the database to round off your data using database functions in the query. And system, the HANA is built for the kill. Yes, it can do this processing at a much faster pace for you, right? That's what HANA can do. So it has a multi-core CPU. So it can round off the data and give you the final result to show to the user. So what you do is you're gonna go back and you can use a function. So after the sum is done, please do a seal. It will round off your total sales to next big integer. Now, if you want to see the list of all the functions provided by SAP, select your function and press F1 key. You will see a ABAP keyword documentation opens here. Yes, and here you can find the functions. So you can go and check all the available functions. You can see here different functions. So many of them are there. Yes, you see absolute function, sign function, seal function, floor function, truncate function, fraction function. Many functions are provided by SAP. Cool, na? Cool. So there are so many functions SAP does provide to us. In fact, they provide string functions also. So you see general functions, floating number function, rounding functions, numeric functions. So many variety of functions are provided by SAP. So you can always refer the ABAP keyword documentation, like string functions are also there. Yes, time and date functions are also there. You see, time and date and time zone functions. So many functions are there in the system which you can use in day-to-day life to improve your ABAP code and push down this logic into the database. So now the rounding of this amount will happen in database. And you know HANA is a database which is a $1 billion machine, and that can do this processing much faster as compared to your ABAP system. So I run now and you see the number is rounded off to the next biggest integer. Yes, that is what seal function does. Likewise, there are many functions like coalesce function, seal function, floor function. Yes, many functions are there. As and when you progress in our training, you will see some more examples in the future. So these are the new functions which SAP introduced. Okay, let's move to the next one. Our next example, my personal favorite, called case expression. So let me show you our previous example. I'll comment out. I'll uncomment the previous example. And in this example, I want to also read the business partner role. Yes. So who is a business partner? A business partner is the one with whom your company is doing some business. Yes. That's a business partner for your company. So I will print the business partner role. A business partner could be a customer, or it could be a supplier. Yeah. That's a business partner. So I run now. You can see 01, 01, 01, 01. And at the bottom, you see 02, 02, 02, 02. So 01 is a customer and 02 is a supplier. Yeah, you know, I know, but our customer don't know. So when you're building a report to display this data to your user, what happens? Your user don't know what is 01 and what is 02. Yeah, your user don't know that. So you want to show here customer and here supplier. Now in the past, you used to do this processing in ABAP. When you loop and print the data, you put a condition and then you show the data to the user. Yeah, but now we can do this drag calculation on the fly. So what we can do, we can come here and we can say case expression BP role. When it is 01, then it is customer. When it is 02, then it is supplier. Yes, and as let's say BP role. So what system does now, it will push down this logic, this condition in the database, and database will give you final result as customer or supplier as a new column BP role of type string. Yes, so this time when you run, you will get the data out of the box from database. Who is a customer and who is a supplier? Wow. So now this processing is happening inside the HANA, and you know HANA is built for the kill. Yes, it is the database, the in-memory database with those multi-core CPU, with the column store and all the benefits which I showed you in the previous classes, right? So this will be done much faster as compared to you do this here in a if condition in ABAP. Never do that. Push down your logic to the database. That's called a simple case expression. Any question on simple case? It is so simple. Yeah. Okay. So now I will show you another case statement. Yeah.
Another quick question. So this arch BP role which we are writing, is this a mandatory statement? Like what is this to this as BP role that you're writing?
Okay. This is just creating an alias name. Yeah. So whenever you do operation like string literal or case expression, it is mandatory to give a alias name to the returning column. So you can also put here Spider-Man. Doesn't matter. But the column name now will be Spider-Man. You can run. It works. Okay. So it's just an alias name you need to give to the computer for the calculating column. So we are calculating something here. We are concatenating. Here we are calculating the type of business partner. So you have to give an alias name. It's mandatory. It's mandatory.
So here we don't need to mention the end case.
No. This is not a switch case statement in ABAP. This is a new syntax of select only. Don't compare it with the switch case in ABAP.
So, Anbo, does this kind of expressions and aggregate functions at the select level doesn't impact anything to the database like performance issues, something like that?
No, in fact, they will improve performance.
Oh.
Okay. Now let's also see the next example of case, which is a little complex case. Now, suppose in the same example, my manager come to me and my manager say that now we know the total sales for each customer. Yes. If a customer have given a sales more than 2 million euros, that should be marked as high performance customer. If a customer have given sales more than 1 million euro but less than 2 million, it's a medium performance customer. But if a customer has given a sales less than a million euro, it's a low performance customer. So you can clearly make out from our data that SAP has given a sales more than 2 million euros. So it's a high performance customer for my company. Whereas this customer is a medium one, and these ones which are below 1 million, they are low performance customers. I want to show this data to the user also, who is good, medium and low. So what we can do, we can write another case expression. So watch out. I will go back. I will now put a case expression, which is complex case expression. And I will put here this amount case when this amount is greater than 1 million and this amount is less than equal to this amount is greater than 2 million. Yes, this is my first use case. Then please consider this customer as a high performance. Yes, when it is above 1 million, greater than equal to 1 million, and it is less than 2 million, less than equal to 2 million, then it is a medium performance, else it's a low performance, and it as performance column. So it will create a new column called performance on the fly. This is called complex case expression. Yeah. So I will now get a performance also printed for the customer. How good, bad, or medium that customer is. So I can run now, and you see high performance, medium performance, and low performance. Wow. Woohoo! You see, earlier in the past, what you used to do? You used to get the data in a ABAP layer. You used to loop over the data, process the data, and then print this information. But now this is calculated deep inside the database in the HANA. And HANA, as you know, it can do this processing much faster because it's a multi-core CPU. Questions?
Can you also sort the amount, please, as an example?
Sorry?
Sort the gross amount.
Yes, you can sort the gross amount for sure. You can say order by. You can do that. Yeah. Now, let me show you sorting as a next step and also further thing. Now, this you got. Let's say now I'll just go to Excel. I've got customer A.
So this is like you were explaining about the code push down, right? So I mean, we
Yes,
can push the code through these statements.
absolutely. Absolutely. So I have, let's say, these customers, they give me different sales. Let's say this is what I have in my company. Yeah. Now, my manager is not happy. What my manager want? He want me to now go and tell me the total sales of high, low, and medium. That's what my manager wants. So what is the total sales for all the high customers? What is the total sales for all the medium customers? And what is the total sales for all the low customers? So high, this one is high, this one is high. So it should be 250 total. Then this is medium and this is medium. So it is 115. And then this is low and this is low. Yes. So it is this. This is what I want now. Why? Because based on this, I can build my analytics. Yes. How? I select this. I go to data. And I can just create here a analytics on top of my data. So I can create a chart. So total sales from all the high customers, total sales from all the medium, and total sales from all the low customers. Yeah. That's kind of an insight I wanted to get. Yes. By building this insight. This is what I want. But what I have today, if you look at the data, I just have the high, low, and medium. I now want to total. So if you got to do this as a ABAP developer, what do? You write this loop and then you put a switch case, and in this you will put condition and you will create variables to total sales inside loop. This is what you do, right? As a developer, typical ABAP developer? No. Bye bye. You don't need to. What you can do now, you can fire a select query on on your internal table. This is your internal table, right? You can fire a select query on that. You can say select performance sum of total sales. From your internal table into another internal table. Let's call it as LT analytics. Group by performance. So what this does now, it is going to, I think we have to put backslash. One second. So basically we have to put, okay, an alias must be, okay, we have to say as base table. So what we have to do now, we have to basically write a query on top of existing internal table. So this is possible. But guys, what happens behind the scenes? Our SAP system will merge these two queries and it will send a single query to HANA and it'll calculate both the things for you. Yeah. So this is what, though it look like a a select query, but basically it is not going to do any operation on ABAP layer. It will also send it to database, and in database it will carry out this calculation. So we are telling the system to total the sales based on performance. Yeah, based on performance. So I get another data, LT analytics. Let me print this. I will allow you to ask questions. Please wait. Let's see the result first. So we just print performance and sales. So now you will get to know in your company what is the total sales from each kind of customer: low performing customer, medium performing customer, and high performing customer. Let's execute. And you see, low performing customer giving you total sales of $10 million. Wow. So someone in your company might think that low performance customers are not important. That's an invalid understanding. Why? Because they are constituting to $10 million sales, which is much above than the total sales coming from all medium performance customers. So low and high performing customers are the most important customers for you as compared to medium performing customers in your company. Yes, that kind of insight you can get when you aggregate data like this. So this is how you can fire a query on an internal table also using ABAP now directly to calculate your aggregates on the fly with no time.
Anubhav, here in the second select query, can we use the case statement?
Yes, we can also use the case statement. You can.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So let me show you, in fact. So we can further say sales. It's greater than 10 million. Then it's wow. Else, oops. Ticker. So I want to print ticker also. Yeah. So we can do use that for sure. So let me run. You say and I do. So first two are wow effect. Last one is oops. Okay.
Thank you, Anubhav.
Welcome, sir.
Anubhav, I have a question. You said like the above two queries, right? Send to the database once and get the combined results. But actually the compiler executes line by line. It's a two different statement, right? So when it goes to the HANA database, it compiles the first line and then it goes to the next line. Is that correct? Or?
Absolutely. So it will go line by line only when it comes to your statements.
But how come when you say that the two queries would execute at the database level only once and get the combined results?
So that is internal kitchen of SAP. So behind the scene, what SAP does, it will basically process the data like this. Yeah, it will internally combine these two queries as one query to improve the performance itself.
Okay. And here, I mean, are we not using the size of RC like once the select query is done in the new syntax?
I did not get your question, sir.
So usually when we write select query, after that we will write if size sub is equal to 0, right? In the traditional way.
That we can still write, sir. That we can still write. So
The
those things
system
will not
variable.
change.
Okay. System variable we can still use for the new
Yes,
syntax
we
as
can.
well.
You can also use IDB count.
Because the site tabix is did not work right for the.
That was for the table expression, sir, not for the query.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anubhav, I need to practice only.
Anubhav,
Yes, you need to practice
I
only,
have a
then you will get
question.
better holding of these syntaxes. Yes, ma'am. Your question, please.
If we don't declare LT analytics, then automatically the data is in base table, right?
If you don't
Like
declare,
loop at base table, can I write?
if you don't declare LT analytics, then no, you cannot write in the base table because your base table structure is not the same. See, base table is just an alias name. See, I can avoid using this, but system is not allowing me. You see, system is saying
Okay.
you must have to give some alias name. Yeah, so I have to give
Okay.
something like say Superman. So that's a requirement for the system. I'm just fulfilling the system syntax requirement by giving this name. This is of no use actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now the last but not the least, one more last thing,
Okay.
last feature I want to show in new ABAP is treating a line of an internal table like an object. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So we can loop itab row as a object. As a object. So I'm going to come back. I'll comment out this. I say loop at itab into reference into, and I can declare a LO local object line. So here basically what am I doing? I am looping over my internal table as a object, as a class object. So we can do like this. Like this. So think about a class object, how you do in ABAP. In ABAP, if you have an object, to access property of an object, you use arrow. That is what we are doing. Why this syntax is important? I will teach you in later units when I teach you BOF integration with CDS. That time I will be using this syntax. So don't get confused with this syntax. It's just simply looping an internal table record as a object, as a object in ABAP. Okay, let me activate. Result will be same. No change in the result. It's working, no problem. Yeah. So this is the last syntax, new improvement in ABAP language along with query. Now, one more last thing, you can also use now with having clause a aggregate function. In the past, it was not possible. So here you see we getting total sales for each customer. You see, now my manager say only consider customers with sales over let's say 100,000. So you see this is 95,000. This is 61,000, 95,000. I should not even consider these customers now at all, at all. So what do we do? We can now use having clause with aggregate condition also. So what I will do is I will take this sum of gross amount, that's aggregate condition, and I can now use it with having clause to filter out my data. So I can say having total sales greater than 100,000. Wow. So this is a new feature in SQL that now you can use aggregate function in the having class to discard the rows. And someone also asked about order by, right? So let me also add that in the second query, order by performance or order by, let's say, total sales. That I will add. It's not coming. Guess it should be added here. Okay. So now you see I have added order by also. Somebody asked me this question. I added that. And now I also added a having clause with aggregate function. In the past, it was not possible to add aggregate function in the having clause. So it will only consider the customers which has sales above 100,000 now. So run it. And now you see those customers are excluded, which doesn't have sales over 100,000. Based on this data only, now the further aggregates are calculated. And now we got two oops. If we discard the customers above below 100,000 sales, yeah, two oops we got, one wow we got. Yeah, and this is sorted now. You see the data is sorted. 5, 9, and 10. We are sorting data by sales. Yeah, so that also we got. Cool. So this is it about the new ABAP syntax in SAP. You can start practicing this at home. We have over the entire week time. I will be sharing this entire source code as part of the notepad file as usual in our study material after the class. Please check the material in case you get stuck. Watch my video again and try to practice these statements. Maybe some of these things you might find it, cumbersome. You might find them overwhelming, but believe me, as and when we progress in our course, you will thank me for this new syntax because this is the foundation. This is the basics. All right. Thank you once again for your time. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Regarding server access and above, I sent email yesterday, but I haven't got any reply.
Uh, you can do one thing, ma'am. You can forward that email to me.
Mhm.
I'm giving you my personal email ID. I will escalate it to the server team. Please also
Okay,
note that
thank
our
you.
working time is morning 9:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. India time.
Yeah, yesterday evening I sent
You should have got
I
response at least. Please forward a copy of that mail to me. I will
okay,
check. Maybe
okay,
your mail have gone into spam. I will just check that. You forward a copy of that mail to me. I've sent my mail ID in the chat window.
okay, Anubhav. Thank
Thank
you.
you, ma'am.